So, check this out, people. Let's talk uncensored. I like to talk about things that most people don't talk about. I don't always like to talk about these things, but these are certain things that need to be talked about. Most YouTubers tend to keep it simple. They don't want to be demonetized. They don't want to be censored. They don't want to be shut down. They don't want a strike on their channel. I, on the other hand, could care less. YouTube is not my career. I do this as a hobby. And so I take advantage of the platform and I try to say the things that most people want to say but are afraid to say. And so today I want to talk about a subject that has been bothering me for a very long time, but I found it really hard to talk about because it's a subject that for me is kind of hard to lay out properly, right? Because this subject is about kids. And so when I talk about kids, I try to be careful, right? I'm one of those YouTubers who doesn't believe that children should be on YouTube, on TikTok, on Facebook. There's a lot of filth on these platforms. Unfortunately, parents aren't paying attention to their children. They could care less. It's not like parents don't know that there is pornography on Facebook. It's not like parents don't know that there are pedophiles on these platforms, on TikTok, on YouTube, on Facebook. It's not like parents don't know what's going on because they go on these channels, they go on these platforms, and they see the same things that I see. So it's not something that isn't unknown to the majority of parents. And so I don't understand how it is that women, because it isn't men, the majority of people who post their children on these platforms are women. You don't see men pointing a camera at their daughters and asking them to dance. You don't see men pointing a phone at their daughters and saying, dance, right? The ones who do that are the mothers. The ones who do that are the women. And it just kills me to see this because with all of the filth that's going on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok, parents, especially women, should be more careful how they present their children on these platforms, right? Because instead of recording their children playing, instead of recording their children skateboarding, roller skating, playing hopscotch, jump rope, tag, whatever, doing things that children do, instead, women, mothers, are recording their daughters doing these filthy, nasty dances. Dances that most of the time you see strippers doing. You see professional dancers who strip for a living. You see these little girls, 6, 5, 4 years old, who are encouraged by their mothers to do these nasty dances. And then they post these children, these little girls, their daughters, on YouTube, on Facebook, on TikTok, and they're laughing, they're encouraging it, they're clapping, and they think it's cute. They think it's cute to present their daughters in such filth, in such a nasty way. And then they wonder why, when their daughters grow up, it's hard for them to find a good relationship. It's hard for them to find a good man. It's hard for them to find a good husband because they attract filth. And the reason why they attract filth is because they act dirty. And they act dirty because their mothers encouraged it when they were 4, 5, and 6 years old. And now that they're grown women, they don't know how to act. They're not shy when it comes to booty popping. They're not shy when it comes to doing these moves that you would swear these women are strippers or streetwalkers, okay? Because their parents, their mothers taught them to be this way. And this is why the majority of teenagers today from the age of 17 up have OnlyFans channels, are not shy to post themselves dancing in a sexual way on YouTube, on Facebook, and on TikTok with their tight pants, showing their camel toe, because they think it's cute, booty popping, and acting like streetwalkers. And that's just to put it lightly, because I want to say other things. But because I'm talking about children, I'm trying to keep my words to a more professional way, right? I don't want to say the words that I actually want to say. And kids don't watch this channel. My channel is not for children, it's for grown-ups. And if children watch my channel, they need to do it with a parent, not with the nanny, not with the babysitter, but with their mother or their father. Okay? And so women today wonder why they're constantly having to call their daughter's boyfriend to find out why he's disrespecting their daughter, why he's talking to her the way he talks to her, why they're always fighting, why she's always jumping from man to man, why she's always having a boyfriend, one boyfriend after another. Because she learned from her mother that it's okay to be sexual at a very young age. And don't tell me that these dances that parents, women are encouraging their little girls to do are not sexual dances. Because no 4, 5, 6 year old little girl should be dancing the way these women are encouraging their daughters to dance. Because I got 4 daughters. I got 4 daughters. I have friends who are married, who have daughters, and you don't see the man pointing a camera at their daughter, asking her to dance like a hoe, and then posting these videos on YouTube, on Facebook, and on TikTok just so they can get clicks, views, and be approved by those who watch. Because for some reason, the majority of women seem to want to get approval by Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok, as if though these platforms determine their value, determine who they are, determine what kind of mothers they are, what kind of women they are. They need the encouragement and the approval from these likes that they get, and they use their little girls, their children, their daughters, in a way that suggests that these women should not be parents. These women shouldn't have daughters, let alone children at all, but should not have daughters. Because again, men don't do this. This is why women need men in their lives. This is why women who have children need to have their husband there. They should be married, one. And if they're not married, they should have children with a man that they know is going to be there for them. Not a one night stand where they get pregnant and then they get pregnant by another man and another man. And the fact is that the majority of women, whether American, whether Filipino, it doesn't matter where you live in the world, unfortunately, tend to be single parents because they make the wrong choice. They make the wrong choice. And you can see what kind of a woman she is by her children, by the way she's raising her children, by the way she represents her children, and what she encourages her daughters to do shows what kind of woman she is. And then she wonders why a man doesn't respect her. Because who you are reflects in your children. And if you're a woman who encourages your daughters to behave a certain way that's suggestive, right? Sexually suggestive, then it simply shows that you are a woman who is projecting a certain feeling a certain way of who you are or who you want to be through your daughter. That's what you're doing. And this is why children need a father in their life. Because if a woman who has a daughter has a husband, has a man in her life, I guarantee you that she would not be doing what the majority of women are doing to their daughters when they present their daughters on YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook the way they do. They wouldn't be doing it. It wouldn't be happening because a man would not allow that. A man knows how to raise his children, and unfortunately, that is a bad sign for women. The fact that a man knows how to raise his children better than a woman does, because a man would never put his daughter in a compromising position with all these perverts, all these pedophiles, and all of these dogs who go online to look for certain things that are sexual. And there is no reason for a woman in her right mind, who is a mother, who should be teaching her daughter to be a lady so that when she's older, she's able to present herself in a ladylike manner so she can pull the right kind of man. Because a little girl who's booty popping on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok is not going to find the right man. She's only going to attract dogs because she's presenting herself in a way that is unbecoming of a woman. And this is why the majority of women, especially American women, jump from man to man to man. And they say that there aren't any good men out here. And the fact is that the majority of women are not worth our time. Because there are two types of women: the women we marry and the women we don't. And a man is not going to want to marry a woman who has a OnlyFans channel, who doesn't know how to act on Facebook, who doesn't know how to act on TikTok, on YouTube, because as soon as you point a camera at a woman, she gets crazy. She starts acting differently. She starts to get loose and disrespectful, not just to her husband, her boyfriend, but to herself and her children. And this is why the majority of women cannot hold the man, because, again, I have 4 daughters. I would not allow my daughters to behave this way. And I will not allow them to allow their children to behave this way, because if I see any of my daughters presenting their daughters in a way that is suggestive, sexually suggestive, where they're dancing in front of the camera, I will pick up the phone and ask my daughter to delete that video and to never ever disrespect her daughter again. And you see the difference between a man and a woman, between a mother and a father, what women have become today. That women are more loose, more disrespectful, more sexual, and more dirty than men are. And this whole thing that women have back home in the US, especially, how they disrespect men and think that men are dogs but don't look at themselves and how they're raising their children. And they wonder why the majority of women back home in the US can't pull a good man, because a good man will walk right past a woman, a good man, and won't look at her twice. It doesn't matter how pretty she is, how cute she thinks she is, because a man knows. A man knows. And a lot of women are constantly saying that they can't find a good man. The fact is that there are good men out here. It's just that the good men don't want them. The good men don't want a woman who's high maintenance, who's overly sexual, not to him, but to everybody, who's dressing in a provocative way. Because when a woman dresses provocatively, she's not doing it for her boyfriend or her husband. Because if she were, she saved that for the house. She'll save that for home. But instead, she does it before she goes to work, before she goes out onto the street. And that suggests to any man that she's looking for attention and not the right attention. Because a real woman, a classy woman, doesn't need the attention of every man. She just needs the attention from one man. And that's the man she's with. That's the man she's married to. That's the man she wants to attract. That's the man she loves. Instead, the majority of women dress a certain way because you don't see men walking down the street showing their chest. You don't see men walking down the street showing their butt cracks, their cleavage, their camel toe. Women do that. Why do women do that? And then when you look at them, they cop an attitude. Why are you dressed like that, lady? You're dressed that way so you can be looked at. And then when a man looks at you, you want to give him dirty looks or curse him out. You think that it's only men who are looking. You don't think women are looking too, because women look. And when they look, the majority of those who are looking are simply asking themselves, how the hell is this woman walking down the street that way? How is she walking down the street that way? And then when a man looks at her, she gets offended. When the fact is, that's why she's doing it. If you don't want to be looked at, you wouldn't dress that way. And the men who are looking at you are the men you don't want looking at you. And this is why you curse them out and give them dirty looks. But if it's the man, the right kind of man that you want looking at you, then you're going to smile, right? And flirt and make sure that you continue to do what you do to get his attention. And the fact is that you're drawing the wrong kind of man. The man you want doesn't want you. The kind of man you're looking for, you're not the kind of woman he's looking for. And this is the problem that a lot of women are going through back home in the US. This is why they find themselves by themselves. This is why the majority of women own a vibrator. This is why the majority of women have to order dildos on Amazon. And I'm just keeping it real. Again, my channel is not for children. This channel is for grown-ups. And so I'm going to say the things that the majority of people don't want to say, because if I don't say it, who's going to say it? A lot of people are thinking it. A lot of people want to say it, but they're afraid to say it. The fact is that the majority of women don't know how to act. They have no class. They don't respect themselves. They don't respect their children. And they are only setting up their daughters for failure. That's what they're doing. They've over-feminized the boys, and they over-sexualize their daughters. And they wonder why their children are failing. This generation has been failing, that the boys are too sensitive, and the women are too sexual. It's not the father who are raising feminine boys. It's not the father who is raising overly sexualized daughters. These are women doing this. These are mothers doing this to their children, causing their children to fail, raising their children to fail. And they have no idea that they're doing this. And you know why they have no idea they're doing this? Because they don't have a man in their life. They don't have a man in their life to set them straight, to put them in their place. The reason why they don't have a man in their life to set them straight, to put them in their place, is because a woman doesn't want a real man. They want a man that they can cheat on. They want a man who doesn't chase them around, who doesn't tell them what to do, who doesn't lay down the law, who doesn't expect them to be at home when they get home from work. They want an everyday bum that they can use and that they can cheat on and move along on, because these women are overly sexual. They don't realize that eventually they're going to get old and nobody's going to want them. You see, when you're in your 20s and early 30s and you're cute, you being overly sexual and overly sexualized looks cute to you, right? Because you're getting that money, because you're cheating on your boyfriends, you're playing men, you're taking advantage of them, you're having some of these guys pay your rent. But then when you start to reach your early and mid 40s and you're not so cute, and nobody wants to look at you because there are other women out there that he can look at that are younger and prettier than you, because now your hair is graying, now you're starting to show wrinkles, now your face is starting to sag, and your body. And then when he starts to look at other younger girls, you're going to realize that you wasted your life because now you're at an age where no man wants you, where no man wants to settle down with you because you're used up. You're used up. You see, there's nothing wrong with a 40, 45, or 50-year-old woman. Nothing wrong with her at all, as long as she kept herself pure. As long as she's kept herself respectful, courteous, and behaved like a lady, she's going to bag any man she wants, even at that age. But if you're one of those women who behave like a streetwalker, who don't know how to act, who's been with 6, 7, 8, 10, 15, 20 men in your lifetime, and everybody on the block knows your name, at least every man. No man in his right mind, no serious man who wants to be with a serious woman is going to take you seriously. He's not. Because no man wants to walk down the street with a woman who, when he's walking with her, his boy is talking to his other boy, whispering to him, saying, hey, look, you see his wife? I was with her a year ago. And then his other boy says, really? I was with her 2.5 years ago. And women are doing this to themselves. You see, a man could be with as many women as he wants. And it's not a double standard, ladies. It's not a double standard. Because a man could be with as many women as he wants, and the older he gets, the more seasoned he gets, and it doesn't affect his life in any way. And you don't have to like it, but that's just the way God made it. That's just the way nature is. When a woman is used up, and she's been ran through, and she has all these bodies, it's not attractive. It's not sexy. Okay? And when you exploit your children, your daughters especially, and you put them through the same behaviors and the same patterns that you yourself are going through, you are only setting up your daughter for failure. You are only setting up your daughter to attract the wrong kind of man, because you raised and instructed your daughter in her path. And when you instruct a child in their ways, when they are older, they will not depart. Ladies, have some class. It's not cute when you expose your daughter to social media in a sexual way. And you may not think that posting videos of your little girl dancing sexually like a stripper to Cardi B, to Nicki Minaj, to these adult women who are talking and singing dirty in their lyrics, you think that's cute? I'm telling you, it's not cute. And if you had a real man in your life, your daughters would grow up to be ladies who can hold on to a man, a real man who would marry them, take care of them, pay their bills, and they would be happy for the rest of their lives. Instead, you're raising your daughters to act like streetwalkers, to jump from man to man, and not realize that in the end, you've destroyed their future. And you've made it impossible for them to hold on to a relationship, a good relationship, or a good man, because the majority of women don't know what to do with a good man. And then they're always complaining that there aren't any good men out here. Talk to your mother. She raised you wrong. And now you're raising your daughters wrong. It's time to get it right, ladies. It's time to grow up, have some class, and raise your daughters so that when they're older, they can have class too, and they can bag a good man and marry a good man. And when they grow up, they can think about marriage rather than think about the next man who's willing to pay their bills. You see the difference? And our daughters are growing up to be that way. Not my daughters, because my daughters are married with children of their own, with good husbands. And if Again, if any one of my daughters posts a video of any of their daughters in a compromising position where they're dancing, I don't care what they're dancing to, unless they're dancing ballet or some type of classical dance, I will get on the phone and demand that they delete that video. Knock it down, take it off, have some class, raise your daughters right. So this is why the majority of women can't make it, because they're raising hoes instead of raising women, instead of raising ladies. And then they want to blame men and say men are dogs. But the fact is that all you have to do is look at social media so you can see who the dogs really are. Because it's not the men who are raising these women. It's not the men who are teaching their little girls to stand in front of a camera and booty pop to Cardi B. So ladies, have some class. Respect your children so that when they're older, they can respect their children.